From Grandma and Grandpa's Can Do Homestead. Boy, everybody loves bread, and doesn't this bread look delicious? I even made some sandwiches. You can see that ham looks pretty mouth-watering. I'm sure you're going to enjoy this, and the best part about it is anybody can make it. It's very easy and very tasty, I might add. Well, good morning, all you YouTubers out there. Well, we're back. We've heard your beck and call, and we decided to make another YouTube video here on the Grandmas and Grandpas Make Do Homestead. So we're going to talk a little bit this morning about making bread. And you know how many times you go to the grocery store and you're buying bread and what are you getting? You really don't know. We're making bread that we know where we're getting the flour from. It's organic flour. We know where we're getting the salt from, and it's super easy. This is the greatest recipe, and we have to give credit to the Living Traditions YouTube channel for this recipe. But it should be real good, and looking forward to showing you how to do it. Well, here we are. We're just about ready to add all the ingredients. So this is just to show you how easy this is. This is going to take really a little bit of time. So what we're going to add first are 3 cups of flour. And here on the homestead, we use organic flour. You can use whatever kind you want. But 3 cups. And I'm trying to even it off here. I guess that's good. The next thing to put on is a quarter spoon of yeast, and then a teaspoon of salt. So that's a half a teaspoon. And here, oh, that's a tablespoon. So we need 1 teaspoon of salt. And there we go. So that's all the dry ingredients. Now what I'm going to do is stir that around a little bit, just to mix everything in. I think that's good. And the next thing we want to add is hot. A cup and a half of water. So here's the water. Steffi's helping me out here, and she put it in the microwave. And we're going to pour this in. And now we're going to do a quick mix with the spoon. And this is going to be some real sticky dough. So you'll see when it takes about 3 hours to rise, and when we're done and when we're putting it in the pan, it's going to be a pretty sticky operation. But it's well worth the putziness of doing it, because it's really tasty bread and it's easy. So that's looking pretty good. Now the next thing we have to do is we have to cover it with some saran wrap and let it sit at room temperature for about 3 hours and let it rise. So it should get to maybe a little bit less than twice of what it is now. And here's our saran cling wrap. And I'll put that on here. I always have problems with this stuff. Here's one of them. I guess I have to do 2. There. Now we just let this sit for 3 hours, and we'll see what we get. So, see you back in about 3 hours. So long. Well, welcome back, everyone. Here's the dough that we mixed before, and it has been rising for about 3 hours, and we're ready to go into the next step. So the first thing I'm going to do is go over to the stove, and we're going to put it on bake at 450. And then we're gonna put the pan that we're gonna use inside the oven and warm that up so when we put the dough in the pan, it's warm. Okay, the next step is I wanna put enough flour on this. I wanna put enough flour on this breadboard here so it doesn't stick to the board, and that really makes it a lot easier. So sometime I think really that maybe more flour than less is probably a good thing for when you turn the dough over. So I think that's going to be good for now. Kind of mix that in a little bit. And so we're ready for the dough. So let's take the top off. It's always funny, the bottom of this is always real wet, and I guess it's the dough must be releasing some kind of moisture into the top. And it does look like it's expanded quite a bit from when I put it in. So I bought this little implement here at the dollar store. It's come in real handy. What we're gonna do is we're gonna get that a little bit on the doughy side and then put the dough onto the breadboard. And here we go. This really looks like it got a lot bigger than what it was. Now, didn't that come out of there nice? Okay, so I'm gonna put this in the sink and then maybe put a little bit more flour on the top of this. And now we'll start turning it over. Well, this doesn't seem as sticky as it has in the past. So it's turning over real nice. Okay, we're gonna leave that for a minute and we're gonna grab some parchment paper and kind of put it in a temporary holding place. We're gonna put it like right here. That's gonna go right into there. So let's get this again and maybe a little bit more flour on top. And we're gonna try to form it into a little bit of a ball here. Feels really good, like it's gonna be a good bread. So let's pick it up and we're just gonna drop it right down in the middle of here. There. So while the oven is preheating, we're gonna let that sit in there and we're gonna put a towel over the top. And that's all there is. So we'll be right back as soon as that oven hits 450. Okay guys, it looks like the oven is preheated, so we're gonna get the pan out of there. And that's sufficiently hot. And then what we do at this point is we take the towel off of this and just grab the parchment paper, carry it over to the pan, and drop it on in. So, we're ready to cook. Now, we're gonna leave it in the oven for 30 minutes. And after 30 minutes, I'm gonna take the top off so it kind of browns a little bit. So that won't, and so far, that has been the perfect time that it needs to be in the oven. So let's put it right on in. Take this out a little bit. Okay, little bread, do your thing in there. See you in 30 minutes to take the cover off. Signing off for now. Well, here we are in the home stretch. The bread is ready to come out of the oven. So just to let you know, we did a little bit of action behind the scenes. At 30 minutes, we took the top off of the bread, and now we've been letting it sit in there for about 10 minutes, and it's ready to come out. So let's see what it looks like. I bet it's pretty good. How about that for good bread? Okay, so the next thing we have to do is turn off the oven. I'll do that right now. I always worry about thinking that I'll have the oven on all night long at 450. That would be terrible. I guess we wouldn't need the furnace then. So let's bring the bread over to here. I'll take it right out in the parchment and move it right off of here. Now, there's really not a lot of steps in this. It's really a quick process, and the bread is so easy to make that I'm hoping I hear that some of you guys out there, whether it be moms and dads or kids, decided to make some bread. So it's really easy. What we're going to do, just as a little bit of a final here, is put a little bit of butter on the top just to make it look really appetizing. So we're just going to kind of smear it around a little bit. And look at it melting, and this bread is delicious. As a matter of fact, we had a little bit left a minute ago, and I just had some for supper. And I had some toasted bread with chicken, and it was really good chicken sandwiches. So here we go. I think you're gonna like the crust. It's really nice and hard. The bottom gets a little bit hard, so when you cut it, it takes a little bit of effort to cut it all the way through. So that's a little bit that you have to put up with, but there it is. We're done. From Grandma and Grandpa's Make Do Homestead. It's bread.